done, they selectively leaked and altered documents to mislead the American people. As President Trump has stated, we have nothing to hide here. I'm voting to release the files so that we can move on from the smear campaign the Democrats have manufactured. God bless
Gentleman's
Donald J.
time has
Trump.
expired. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Ohio reserves. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
All right. How much time do I have to close?
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank all of America for tuning in to this. I want to thank Representatives Massey and Khanna, Representative Green, all of those who have insisted upon bringing the truth forward and a reckoning with the reality of one of the worst international child sex trafficking rings ever to exist in the United States and the cover-up attendant to it. We've got the opportunity today to do justice for the victims, for the survivors who have come forward to say that the voice of the victims and the survivors must be put at the very center of our deliberations, not shunted off to the side, not submerged, not subordinated, but put at the very center. We must hear from the people who themselves were victimized by this nightmare. Now, our colleagues across the aisle seem to want to make this into some sort of partisan contest. I haven't heard so much talk about the Democrats since the Democratic National Convention. And all that we've done here is to say we want to bring the truth forward along with a bipartisan group. We don't want the Senate monkeying around with this in order to slow things down. We want it passed in the Senate. We want it signed. And before that, if the president is true to his word and he wants to see all of this come to light, he can release it now instead of fighting, kicking, and screaming every step along the way. But I'm glad he's changed his mind, and I hope he maintains the momentum he's got to stick with the vast majority of the American people who want to see that the truth is done here. And while he's at it, the administration could reconsider their terrible policies, gutting federal offices and programs designed to combat violence against women. The DOJ terminated hundreds of grants to police departments, defunding the police when it comes to investigating violent sex crimes and to support victims. His DOJ destroyed programs to combat international human trafficking rings. Let's get back on the side of the women. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker Johnson said it right. Why now after 4 years of doing nothing? Because going after President Trump is an obsession with these guys. Best example is John Brennan testified in front of our committee under oath, said he was not involved with the dossier. Only problem is Tulsi Gabbard declassified a report, released that report, and it said exactly the opposite. And she related a story in there where a CIA official went up to Mr. Brennan and said, we shouldn't include this in the report. And John Brennan's response was, yeah, but doesn't it ring true? Forget the facts, forget the truth, go after Trump, put it in. Same dynamic at work here. We're all for protecting innocent victims. We're all for exposing the bad guys who did bad things. But this is an obsession with the left. For 10 years, it's going after President Trump. So vote yes. Make sure the bad guys are held accountable. We all want to do that. Speaker Johnson's right. I think it's going to be unanimous. But understand what they're doing, because they had 4 years and didn't do a darn thing. With that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass the bill H.R. 4405? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended. The bill is passed, and without
Can I request a recorded vote, Mr. Speaker?
The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Yeah, I'm requesting a recorded vote.
The gentleman from Maryland has requested a recorded vote. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. Pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20, this 15-minute vote on the motion to suspend the rules will be followed by 5-minute votes on ordering the previous question on House Resolution 879, adoption of House Resolution 879 if ordered, and adoption of House Resolution 878. This is a 15-minute vote.
Interesting. You heard everybody, right? You heard everybody. What's up, everybody? Okay, first and foremost, sup. No intro today, or no intro for this, because it you know, I didn't expect it to happen so quickly in this juncture. Okay, but we are here to have to cover and handle this whole conversation here. What's interesting, or this voting, what's interesting here though, is that you heard basically a unanimous a decision. A unanimous decision was made. You could hear that. So this will be a landslide. It will pass. Now I get the arguments that I get what they're saying, some of the arguments, but at the same time, you can kind of miss me with the nonsense. Like just a little bit. You can miss me with the nonsense of like, well, just get it over with. You know, they're just obsessed with this over the last 10 years. Stop. This obsession started with Trump. I'm sorry, y'all, but that's the truth. The obsession started with mother-loving Trump. He was the first one to come out here and say, drain the swamp, right? Even with my cold, I'm trying my best, okay? But he even himself said, drain the swamp. We're going to drain it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to drain the swamp. And it's like, okay, then drain the swamp. Dagnabbit. Drain the mother-loving swamp. Period. But no. Suddenly, when all things came to a head, it was, nope, they don't exist. No, these are not the files you're looking for, like some crazy Jedi trick, right? So, of course, the general public, not just Democrats, not just left-leaning individuals, everyone from far left to far right and everything, all that mucky muck in between just wants the truth. Period. I hate it. And hate is a strong word, but I hate it that there are people out here that will use that type of rhetoric like, it's the left that's just losing their minds over the files. It's not. This is a bipartisan situation. We all agree. If you've noticed, people are out here denouncing their allegiance to MAGA. MAGA is falling apart as we speak, solely because of the files. Solely because of the files. And the lack of them taking the responsibility and the accountability and leaving that stuff out there for people to read. The dodging of the dodging and trying to hide things as much as they've been doing as of late, that says a lot to me, at least, guys. I don't know about y'all, but that says a lot to me. Okay? And Robert, I get what you're saying here. They had 4 years to do something, but then they had 4 years in his term as well to do something then too. They had opportunities in Trump's first term. Those 4 years had plenty of opportunities to do something. They did nothing. Yes, Biden's administration didn't do anything about it either. Okay? But at the same time, here is the situation that we're in right now. In fact, let me just remind you again. Trump brought it up again. He's the one who brought it up during his whole second term, or, his third time running for president, third time election run. Okay. He's the one who brought it up again. The Biden administration didn't talk about it, which, yeah, shame on them. Okay. For real. But then he brought it up again and used it as a tool to get him in the presidential seat again. And then when it came time to actually try to do something and get things going, suddenly they don't exist anymore. It's jacked up. It's truly jacked up. We're going to come back to this. We're still waiting. I'm going to keep this live going. Okay. This is still live. All right. I'm just going to mute it here really quick. Voting is going on right now. We got 10 minutes until they're done voting. But there is something that just recently happened. First off, I want to say I did put up a video. It's an interview with Mark Epstein. Okay. And I think that you guys should check it out when you get a chance. Okay. While we're in the middle of waiting. All right. Because there's going to be a little bit of waiting going on. All right. But there is something I want to share with y'all. Hold on. Let me just pull this up. So apparently Trump goes off on an ABC reporter, and we got to take a look at this. I don't know the full. I don't know the full situation here, but it says, speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, President Trump lashes out at ABC News reporter asking about Epstein files. He's never going to live this down. I'm going to be real. He's never going to live this down. Take a look at this. He's never going to live this down until those files are out.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude.
What?
I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter.
Hold on. First off, what is going on here? Hold on. What is going on here? Yo, what is going on here? Can we hear what she asked again? And let's hear her tone of voice. Hold on. How did she ask the question? Let's hear it. Let's hear it really quick. Let's see if she said something that was absolutely just so rude and so ridiculous and out of pocket. Let's hear what she says one more time.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know,
Does that sound like does it sound like she's being a butthole right there? I'm asking for a friend. Okay. Does it sound like she's being a butthole by asking a simple question? She basically just said, can you please pass the potatoes? Right? Pardon me, sir. Do you have Grey Poupon? Like, it's as simple as random as that. And yet he is going off. I'm going to repeat that again so we can relive that glorious moment of her just being an absolute butthole. I'm kidding. That's sarcasm. Let's go.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
you know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is,
Oh my God.
I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me, but he gave money to Democrats. And people are wise to your hoax. And ABC's, your company, your crappy company is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something. I think
Damn.
the license should be taken away from ABC
Wow.
because your news is so fake and
Wow.
it's so wrong.
Wow.
And we have a great commissioner, the chairman,
Wow.
who should look at that, because I think when you come in and when you're 97%
Is he done
negative
yet?
to Trump, and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible.
Is he? He's not done yet. Oh my God. I mean, you can't not laugh at this. He is losing his mind. He's supposed to be cool as a cucumber. Okay. Clearly, This whole Epstein file situation is getting to him. Am I right? Have mercy. Let's continue. He's not done yet. We should be taking away your license because you're trash. Fake news company. The worst that's ever been made. It's the worst one ever. I tell you what. Wow. He is in his fifis.
And you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question.
Damn.
You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein, who spent their time. Larry Summers was
He's not done
was
yet.
with him all the time. That creep, the fund guy, was with him all the time. What's his name? Who? Reid Hoffman. I don't know Reid Hoffman, but I know he spends a lot of money on the radical left. Reid Hoffman, in my opinion, should be under investigation. He's a sleazebag. And those are the people, but they don't get any press. They don't get any news. And you're not after the radical left because you're a radical left network. But I think the way you ask a question with the anger and the meanness is terrible. You ought to go back and learn how to be a reporter. No more questions from you. Who else?
Okay, wait a second. Oh my God. Where was the woman? Where was the what the hell? What the hell is going on here? Where was that reporter in the wrong? Because she just asked a question. Any question that has anything to do with the word Epstein, his name, as soon as he goes off. He's going to go off like a powder keg. Doesn't matter. Remember, he was on Air Force One, and somebody asked a question about Epstein, and I guess it was a news outlet that he didn't like. So he called that reporter Piggy. He's like, quiet. Shut up, Piggy. Calling a reporter Piggy. I'm not kidding. We saw that earlier. Damn. This man is straight up in his fifis, and he just took 3 minutes, a little less than a few seconds less than 3 minutes to just rip apart ABC no matter what. Obviously, let's not forget, guys, you got Jimmy Kimmel. Ain't he on ABC? So he already has a distaste and anger, okay, towards ABC already, right? But that reporter didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. Or she didn't do anything wrong. And yet he's like, you know what? You're probably a terrible daughter. You probably were a terrible, terrible daughter. Worst of its kind, of the likes you've never seen before. If he kept going, this is probably what he would have said. Are you a mother? Are you a mother? Yes. You're probably a terrible mother too. You know what I mean? She didn't do anything wrong. She just asked a damn question. Damn. He is freaking the F out. And I'm sure he's tired because you know for the fact that the press has been doing nothing but pressing him. See what I did there? About these files. And now he's mad because the public let me just say this, may get what they want. And he doesn't like that. Remember, we're dealing with Trump here. Okay, with all due respect, it doesn't matter if you are a Trump fan or not a Trump fan. It doesn't matter. We all know what kind of guy Trump is. I know some of y'all think that he could do no wrong, and he's not crazy, and he's not, he's not narcissistic or anything of that sort, or a control freak or anything of that sort. That's fine. If you want to think that, that's fine. But I know for a fact, you Trump supporters, the hardcore Trump supporters, know what kind of guy he is. We all know that as soon as he gets up on that podium and he's supposed to be reading the teleprompter, that he'll just go off the rails. We already know that, we already know who he is and what his characteristics are. Doesn't change if you support him or not. He is definitely hypersensitive right now about everything because he's tired. I get it. I fully get it. But at the same damn time, that reporter did not deserve that. I will say that. Okay. But looks like 3 more seconds and we will find out the full total. I mean, they still got to tally up everything. But right now, it looks like it's unanimous right now. All right. Everyone's going to vote yay, because at the end of the day, they don't want to look bad. And it's on record. This is all on record now. So if anybody goes up and says nay, that Republican, that Democrat is going to be looked at. Not only just by Trump. Remember that. Not only just by Trump, but by the general public themselves. There will literally be a public quartering, okay, out here in these streets, okay? So this is going to be very, very interesting. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Hold on. I'm just reading some comments here. Let me unmute this here real quick. Just reading your comments here really quick. Hold on. So yeah, the moment we've all been waiting for, at least level 1, right? Level 1 is going down right now. Wow. One Democrat said nay. Wow, that's a surprise. I wonder why. That is crazy. One Democrat said no. Okay, that must have been a mistake. Look at that. Notice that the nay went away. How do you misread yay or nay? That's what I'd like to know. Who is that? Who suddenly changed? If they changed their vote suddenly out of nowhere. Oops, I meant yay. I didn't mean nay. Wait, this is going to be recorded. Oh, you mean everybody and their mama going to find out if I say nay? Oh, no. Yay. Can I change mine right now? I said yay. Bethany, you know what? You ain't wrong. There's a good, strong possibility that nothing's going to happen. Remember, it gets past here, then it's got to go up another level. Where to? The Senate. The Senate has to vote next, and it can completely get dismantled and destroyed in the Senate. So we'll see what happens, right? Bethany, you ain't wrong. You know, that possibility is still a strong possibility that we ain't going to see a damn thing. But I'm telling you right now, if the Senate squashes this, okay? If the Senate squashes this, yo, bad news bears. Telling you right now, bad news, mother-loving bears. Oh, there's my boy Wesley Bell right there. He's a friend of the show. He's been on the show in the past, right over there. But again, like I said, this is all going to be up to the Senate. We are now seeing it's getting passed. We can all basically say that it's getting passed right now. Okay? We don't need to sit there and go, "Oh my God, are they going to pass? Are they going to pass? Are they going to pass? I don't know if they're going to pass." No, they're going to pass. They're passing it. It's done. It's done. Even if the next 34 people say nay, okay. Here's the other thing too. Now you have a Republican. Now you have a Republican saying nay. Uh-oh. My question is why? You got a nay. Okay? You got a nay. Nay again. Yep. Unless that's a mistake. But you know for a fact everybody and their mom is going to want to see who that Republican is now. If it's Mike Johnson, that would be interesting. But you know for a fact everybody and their mom is going to want to know who's that one nay, or who is the few that say nay. Just remember that. Yeah, it could be Mike. Devilish Keebler elf looking ass. But we'll see. We got 14 more votes left. I'm gonna take a bite of this sandwich. Mike Johnson said that he was voting yes. That's because he's scared. If that's the case, if he is voting yes, it's because he's scared. And I'm sure he's like, I'll be damned if I'm the only one that stands on the side of nay. So of course he's gonna sit there and say, oh no, it's a yay. When he's been doing everything he can in his power to try to hide this ish. He worked he was in cahoots with the rest of the Trump administration to try to block all this stuff. Let's be real, okay? Doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. You can see corruption or a cover-up when you see it. If this was going on in Biden's administration, I'd still be going ham too. Because that's corruption. What he was doing is corrupt. And yet it's allowed? That's what's wild to me, that they have this happening and it's allowed. They had that happen where Adelita, if I'm saying her name correctly, couldn't get sworn in to her position for almost 50 days because they didn't want this to happen. And now it's happening. Insane, y'all. Insane. By the way, since you guys are all here, I appreciate it. Or, you guys are all starting to file in. We're all waiting for the moment we've all been waiting for. Make sure you hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Also, pinned to the top of the chat. Okay, I have a GoFundMe going on. If you can help out, that would be greatly appreciated. Just trying to raise a few more dollars for this rig that I got that I'm trying to purchase, so I can go out, do some live footage, live shows, etc. So if you can, that'd be greatly appreciated. Okay, no pressure, but it's pinned to the top of the chat. Thank you, Debbie, one of my many fantastic mods. But make sure you check it out. It's pinned to the top of the chat, and it's in the description box down below. That'd be greatly appreciated. And also, I'm going to throw in my the video I just recently put up with Epstein's brother. Did an interview, so I'm going to just randomly throw that into the chat here as well, and check that out when you get a chance. Okay, so click on it, bookmark it, or put it off, save it off for later so you can check it out, because what Mark Epstein says, Jeffrey Epstein brother says, is pretty wild. Okay, so take a moment to watch that when you get a second. Okay, But of course, hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. All right, we're watching this. We're keeping an eye on this. We got 5 more votes. 5 more votes. And then it's a wrap for this whole thing. Pascal 2028. That would be hilarious. All right. But yes, don't forget to subscribe. We're almost in the 185s, 185,000 subscribers. It was just crazy. All right. So don't forget to subscribe. Okay, guys? We are literally, 55 subscribers away from 185, which is insane. Okay. Jeffrey, thank you so much. Canada supports you. God bless. God bless you too. And God bless Canada and all your maple syrup. Okay. Without your maple syrup, there would be a very lonely pancake out there. I will tell you that. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Janobi, what up? Fed judge ruled Texas maps are illegal. Oh, snap. That's big deal too. With all
On this vote, the yeas are 427. The nays are 1.
Damn, we hear
2/3 being in the affirmative. The rules are suspended. The bill is passed. And without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
the motion to reconsider. Like, are you sure you want to say yay? Right? Nope. They're all good. Like, nah. One nay. Who is that Republican that said nay? That's what I'd like to know. When you know for a fact everybody and their mama is going to do their research and find out right now. Crazy.
Pursuant to Clause 8, Rule 20, the unfinished business is the vote on ordering the previous question on House Resolution 879, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the resolution.
House Calendar Number 47, House Resolution 879. Resolution providing for consideration of the joint resolution, Senate Joint Resolution 80, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to National Petroleum Reserve in Alaska Integrated Activity Plan Record of Decision, providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 130, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Buffalo Field Office Record of Decision and approved Resource Management Plan Amendment, providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 131, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Coastal Plain Oil and Gas Leasing Program Record of Decision, providing for consideration of the concurrent resolution, House Concurrent Resolution 58, denouncing the horrors of socialism, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 1949, to repeal restrictions on the export of import of natural gas, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 3109, to require the Secretary of Energy to direct the National Petroleum Council to issue a report with respect to the petrochemical refineries in the United States and for other purposes, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 5107, to repeal the Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Amendment Act of 2022, enacted by the District of Columbia Council, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 5214, to require mandatory pretrial and post-conviction detention for crimes of violence and dangerous crimes and require mandatory cash bail for certain offenses that pose a threat to the public safety or order in the District of Columbia, and for other purposes,
The question is on ordering the previous question. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
So another vote. I don't know what this is for, to be honest. That lost me. I felt like they were doing the whole, like, you know, like you see those commercials where they're like, do you have plaque psoriasis? And it's like all this stuff, you know, thanks to Myoplex, now my plaque psoriasis doesn't flare up anymore. And then they do all that extra jargon, like, please don't operate heavy machinery if you have thoughts of doing the unthinkable to yourself or anything like that. You know what I mean? You have depression and all that stuff. Please don't take this stuff. Felt like she just did that. Like she just read a thing that we're like, what? What did she just? I'm super lost. What was that all about? Ikumi, what was that? So should I take this Myoplex for my plaque psoriasis or no? Because I feel fine. I ain't depressed. Should I take it? Because now you're saying don't operate heavy machinery. But you got to take it like 3 times a day to keep the plaque psoriasis away. So should I be taking this? Wait, UK ads are what? Dismal? Like, hello. If you have problems with plaque psoriasis, please be sure to take this medication. But if you have suicidal thoughts, depression, or have to operate heavy machinery, we say, please do not take this medication. It will make your life absolutely hell. Is that what it is? Is that what we're talking about here? Is that what the ads are like? Is that the same thing when they're talking about a football game over there? Come see Manchester United play against Argentina in one of the most exciting games of football. No? No? Are all your commercials just terrible? I'm just saying. Just saying. But anyway, is it all bad? Yeah, y'all have McDonald's over there, right, too? You know? So is it just the same thing? Come to McDonald's for our $1 menu, McNuggets and Happy Meals for your kiddos. It's absolutely amazing. Like that, just that. All of it dismal. I'm just saying. Okay? Richie Dupe, thank you so much. I appreciate it. This cold is helping it though, too. You know, it's helping a little bit with the accent, you know? So I appreciate it. I sound more Australian than Brit. Okay, that's fine. You know. Oh no. Oh no. Anyway, here's the thing. I don't know what they're voting for on this one. So I'm a little I didn't understand what she just went through like micro machines, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Heretofore. You know what I mean? So we'll see what this is all about. But they only got and look at that. It is split. It is split. This may be a stalemate. This might be a stalemate. I might. So we'll see. I don't know what they're voting on. That's the problem. That's what I was trying to find out. I got a little lost with what she was saying. So we'll see. I'm sure they're going to reiterate what they're voting on. We'll see. Abigail, thank you so much. Ooh, Clay Higgins, representative from Louisiana. Clay Higgins voted no. Ooh, who is Clay Higgins? Clay Higgins. From Louisiana. Let's hear what they got to say here because he's going to scream into the mic any second now. So I'm just going to let him scream into the mic.
On this vote, the yeas are 217, the nays are 211. The previous question is ordered. The question is on the adoption of the resolution. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Speaker,
For what purpose does the gentleman from Massachusetts rise?
I ask for a recorded vote.
A recorded vote is requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, further proceedings on this question will be postponed. The House will be in order.
This is fascinating.
The House will come to order. The House will come to order.
Selena, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it.
For what purpose does the gentleman seek recognition?
To speak out of order for 1 minute, Mr. Speaker.
Here we go.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized.
What?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise to recognize a man whose dedication, steadiness, and wisdom have shaped not only my work in this chamber, but the work of this institution itself. I'm talking about my Chief of Staff, Brett Horton. There are few people who know Capitol Hill more intimately than Brett. For 15 years...
Gentlemen will suspend. The House will be in order.
For 15 years, he's been by my side. He began as my counsel in 2010 and worked his way through some of the most demanding, consequential roles in the House. Policy Director at the Republican Study Committee, Floor Director in the Majority Whip's office, and for the last decade, my Chief of Staff in both the Whip's office and the Leader's office. To me and to countless members of Congress and staff, Brett Horton has been far more than a colleague. He's been a trusted advisor, steady in his approach, wise in his counsel, and deliberate in his words and actions. When the stakes were the highest, Brett's voice was the one you wanted in the room. His fingerprints are on every major Republican policy victory we've achieved in the past decade. But perhaps more importantly, he's been by my side through tough personal and professional challenges that extend far beyond legislating. In the aftermath of the congressional baseball shooting, an event that shook my family, my staff, and this entire conference in Congress, Brett's leadership and friendship were unwavering. He helped carry us through one of the most difficult and unprecedented challenges we ever faced. Mr. Speaker, public service at this level demands trust, character, and unwavering duty for the institution that is this United States Congress. Brett Horton embodies all of these qualities. I'm profoundly grateful for his years of service to me personally, to this House, and to our country. As Brett begins his next chapter, I have no doubt he'll continue to serve with the same excellence that has defined his entire career. The United States House of Representatives is the stronger institution because of Brett Horton's distinguished service here. I wish Brett all the best in his future endeavors, and I tell you, thank you, Brett, for your personal friendship and for your service to this great United States of America and this great Congress. Thank you, Brett Horton.
Gentleman yields back. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is the vote on the adoption of House Resolution 879, on which a recorded vote is ordered. The clerk will report the title of the resolution.
Calendar number 47, House Resolution 879. Resolution providing for consideration of the joint resolution, Senate Joint Resolution 80, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to National Petroleum Reserve in
Whoa.
Alaska Integrated Activity Plan Record of Decision,
Whoa.
providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 130, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Buffalo Field Office Record of Decision and approved Resource Management Plan Amendment, providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 131, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land
Hold on.
Management relating to Coastal Plain Oil and Gas Leasing Program Record of
Okay.
Decision, providing for consideration of the concurrent resolution, House Concurrent Resolution 58, denouncing the horrors of socialism, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 1949, to repeal restrictions on the export and import of natural gas, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 3109, to require the Secretary of Energy to direct the National Petroleum Council to issue a report with respect to the petrochemical refineries in the United States and for other purposes, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 5107, to repeal the Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Amendment Act of 2022, enacted by the District of Columbia Council, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 5214, to require mandatory pre-trial and post-conviction detention for crimes of violence and dangerous crimes, and require mandatory cash bail for certain offenses that pose a threat to the public safety or order in the District of Columbia, and for other purposes,
The question is on the adoption of the resolution. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
Excuse me. 1 second, guys. I'm just pulling up a few things. One, we can move on. One thing's for sure, we can move on from this because what's done is done. What's done is done. This is all other stuff that they're talking about. Okay, we were here for the main thing, which is whether or not they're going to release the Epstein files or vote for them to say yes. DOJ release the files. Now, here's what's next. Okay, what's next on the list is that it's got to go up to the Senate. The Senate has to make their vote. Okay, they have to make a decision whether or not they're going to release the files. All right, and then that bill will be sent to, or that agreement, that a decision will be sent to Trump. And Trump has said publicly he has no problem signing it off as soon as it gets to his table. But it's got to get to his desk. That's number one. Problem number one. Now, the big hurdle just got jumped over, okay? Is official. It is going down. The House of Representatives have voted to move to get those files out here to the public. Make it public knowledge, right? Big freaking deal. All right? But, of course, there are some people that don't agree with it, that are against it. At least one person went out of his way. I'm sorry, guys. This cold is kicking my butt. But he went out of his way to vote no, and he's the only Republican to vote no. Guy's name is U.S. Representative Clay Higgins. What's the story behind this? Why did he do this, right? He's saying he voted no because he believes that this is going to hurt innocent people. He believes U.S. Representative, Republican U.S. Representative, the only person that voted no on this bill to release these files. The only reason, one of the reasons, is he's worried that it's going to hurt the victims and the people that are innocent out here. Let's take a look at this right here, okay? Because I'm kind of curious. Does he have something to do with this? Or is he connected to something? Why would he go blatantly be the only person to go out of his way to vote no? You know, for a fact, everybody is instantly going to throw him under the bus. You understand that, right? He's the only person that has come out and said, hail to the no. That's very interesting, don't you think? We also got to listen to, we're going to take a look at what Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, had to say as well, because apparently he had some scathing things to say about Democrats during his little spiel before the voting as well. We're going to take a listen to that too. So ride with me here for a second, okay? First and foremost, Republicans vote no. Bill says bill will hurt innocent people. So we've just heard that Republican U.S., and this is from the BBC, okay? The BBC. We've just heard that the Republican U.S. Representative Clay Higgins was, what the heck? Was the sole no vote for the bipartisan bill, which passed 427, to 1. 427 people said yay, and he said nay. Why? Social media post on his account says, I have been principled no on this bill from the beginning. He says the bill reveals and injures thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provided alibis, family members, etc. So he is really worried about injuring the thousands of innocent people, but there's thousands of lives that already have been injured, given the fact that justice has not been served. You realize that, right? But, his way of thinking is his way of thinking, all right? So he continues by saying, quote unquote, if enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to a rabid media. See, these are the excuses that they put out. Okay? Trust me. The media and the general public have been hungry for the truth. And that's it. But let's continue on. Released to a rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people getting hurt. I don't think so. If these people step forward, or if these names are dropped and they're involved in some nefarious criminal type of activity, yeah, things are coming their way. But if you innocent, then you're fine. He is a member of the House Committee on Oversight and says it is conducting a thorough investigation that has already released well over 60,000 pages of documents from the Epstein case. So let me repeat this. This is very important. This is a very important piece of information right here, ladies and germs. So prick up your ears. Here it is. He is a member of the House Committee on Oversight. So he has been one of the people, let me just break this down. He has been one of the people that has been very much against this from day one. Remember when the House Committee Oversight was voting? The Oversight Committee literally it was half and half. Democrats were like, release the Kraken. Republicans were like, no, of the House Oversight Committee. They're like, no, let's not release it. Let's not release it at all. He is still standing on that vote. But here's the other thing too. That also means that he knows information, y'all. That also means that he knows what's in those files. That sounds like a dun dun dun, if you ask me. Hear me out. He knows what's in there. He knows what's in there. He's part of the House Oversight Committee. That is a big deal. So he's like, oh no, it's going to hurt thousands of innocent people. It's going to hurt thousands of innocent people. Yet there's thousands of survivors that were innocent that now have tarnished traumatic lives because of meeting the likes of Swamp Thing, Jeffrey Epstein. And you mean to tell me you're worried about other innocent lives? What other innocent lives? If there's emails or files in there that say, let's just say, I'm not saying that he's in this, but I'm just going to use his name for example, like Mike Johnson, right? Say that Mike Johnson was in a room talking with people, but he's not committing any crime. His name is just mentioned in the freaking emails. Do you really think everybody and their mom is just going to go in on him and that's it? If there's no proof of crime committed? I feel like the people who are doing criminal activities is where the rest of the world is going to go in on. But if it's like random names that are being mentioned, he had a party with the likes of The Rock, for example, or something like that. You know what I mean? Innocent parties. And then after all that, after all the parties, bad things ensued. You see what I'm saying? I just don't think that it's going to be, oh no, any name that's mentioned is going to be canceled. I just don't see that. But it's like, yeah, these people are on the island. Oh yeah, they're going to be in trouble. Yeah. The Clintons are in trouble. Period. They are. Okay. They're in trouble. All right. But let's continue on. This means this man, to me, the way I'm translating this whole spiel of excuses coming from Clay Higgins is because he knows things. He either was a part of these things or he knows exactly what's in the files, and he's freaking the F out, and he's gatekeeping this information because he doesn't want that information to come out, because he knows it's going to destroy people that either, support him, okay, lobby with him, etc. He doesn't want those things to come out. That effort will continue in a manner that provides all due protections for innocent Americans. Okay. He also added that he will vote for the bill when it comes back to the House, but only if the Senate amends the bill to properly address privacy of victims and other Americans who are named but not criminally implicated. So then that's the thing. If there are names in there that have nothing to do with anything nefarious, nothing criminal, then redact the names. I'm cool with that. Keep the names out there that are doing criminal activity, but then redact the innocent names, which should already had been done a long ass time ago, if you ask me. Just like they're redacting the victims' names. Let's not forget that. They're redacting innocent lives' names as far as the victims. So why not redact the names that are innocent? That just happened to be, oh yeah, he received a phone call from the likes of, Arnold Schwarzenegger or something like that. Arnold Schwarzenegger's not doing anything illegal by making a phone call. But if it's like he was in these rooms with all these other littles with Jeffrey Epstein getting a massage, then damn right, expose that name and throw them under the mother-loving justice bus. Back up, go, and then run them over again. Okay? But if it's just innocent crap like, oh yeah, he just got a phone call from somebody or received an email from somebody about him making an appearance at somewhere. Like I said, no crime committed by sending an email. Okay? That's innocent, I mean, because of course there could be other emails like, yeah, so I need you to bring over the pizza boxes and the videotapes and the plastics. You see what I'm saying? So, this is very interesting. Let me pull up, excuse me. Let me pull up, actually, let me fix this too. Every doggone time. Every doggone time. Give me 2 seconds, guys. 2 seconds. Every single time. Come on. Come on. Okay. Just need to fix that real quick because I keep forgetting to do certain things. Let's see, where are we at? It is over here. Let me see if I can find it first and foremost, but
We've got some.
So I do want to share this though too. This is a little bit of a left turn, but this has everything to do with them trying to basically structure things that are going on in Texas, which is very, very interesting. And we need to take a look at this. This is wild. Okay. but they did block them from being able to redraw the congressional map in Texas. All right. Take a look at this.
Breaking news now out of Texas, where a federal court has blocked that state's newly drawn congressional map on the grounds it appears to be unconstitutional. MS Now legal affairs reporter Fallon Gallagher joins me now. What else did the court have to say?
Chris, this is a massive blow for the Republicans who wanted to redraw this map to include those 5 seats. So basically what this 3-judge panel has ruled is that that map is now unconstitutional and they must use the 2021 map. They're saying that you used it for 2020, you used it for 2022 midterms, and now there's not enough time to completely redraw a new map, calling it a special session. And so you have to use that 2021 map. The 2025 map is unconstitutional. They say that this is race-based gerrymandering. This will almost certainly be appealed, but right now that is what the district court ruling has said.
Damn, y'all. You know what's wild is that I kind of wish that they would do these kinds of things with what's going on inside the House. What we just saw over the last 40 some odd days, or 48 plus 50 days or something like that, 50 days or something like that, to that Democrat representative that was not sworn in, that was unconstitutional as well. That was most definitely unconstitutional. And they still we're not hearing anything from Mike Johnson getting in trouble. There's no slap on the wrist for Mike Johnson, which is absolutely insane. But what they've been doing, though, is constitutionally against the Constitution. Okay? Violates the Constitution. But they've been doing this in other states as well, guys. This is not the only place. This is not the only state. They just got caught. Other ones have already done it. You see what I'm saying?
Does it have potential implications for other states that have followed suit?
At this point, it doesn't. At this point, this is solely focused on Texas. But you'll remember we were talking last week about that case that's coming out of California after Prop 50 passed and the DOJ sued, saying that that was racial-based gerrymandering. So these similar cases could pop up. But at this point, this case is solely focused on Texas.
There obviously is a timing issue here, and you kind of touched on it. If there is, as I would expect there to be, a challenge to this, and however long that goes on, it gets more and more possible for a judge to say there's not enough time between now and, for example, the midterms to take care of this, right?
Exactly. And as I understand it right now, I'm still reading through this ruling. It's 160 pages long, but there is a December 8th deadline where they need to have the congressional maps in place for those 2026 midterms. And so what they're saying is you have to use the map that already exists because that would be the least disruptive. There's simply not enough time to draw a new map that would be viable for those 2026 midterms.
Fallon Gallagher with big breaking news. And the Texas case that obviously started all of this redistricting fight. Thank you so much.
This is absolutely crazy, okay? And they've been doing this. They've been playing, let me tell y'all something. They've been playing slick, okay? They've been playing hella slick this entire doggone time. So the fact that we're seeing right now, them saying, hey, like getting caught in their BS is pretty insane. Some states were too slow on the up and up to catch this stuff. Okay. Especially when they were, basically trying to redraw their congressional map in other states. Somebody just said that they're trying to do this in Missouri too. They're trying to do it in all kinds of different places. It's not just Texas. Okay. They're trying to do it in California. They're trying to do it in other states as well. So again, this is insane. Okay. Now, here's the other thing. The fact that there's been so many, there's a lot of corrupt stuff that they're doing right now, guys. Okay. Now, this is a little bit of a left turn. But I got to bring it up. Somebody just mentioned it in the chat. So I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up. Okay. Let's see. What is her name? What is that doggone girl's name? What is her name? What is that mother-loving girl's name? No, not Adelita. Trump's new lawyer. on Comey and on Letitia James. I just want to show you something. Okay. I forgot her name. I'm going to pull it up there. I'm sure they're going to say her name. Okay. Yeah, it's like Heather Halligan, Lindsay Halligan. There it is. Lindsay Halligan. Thank you so much. But look at this. So Trump's target, okay, his target, which is, of course, James Comey and the likes of Letitia James. Remember, Lindsay Halligan is somebody who was his new lawyer that's been going after these guys, okay? Now, we're starting to see that they may have done some misconduct in trying to charge these individuals with something, especially to the tune of former FBI Director James Comey. This is some very interesting stuff as well. You got to take a look at this. So Trump's target, Comey, those charges may be tossed over disturbing pattern. This is a massive deal, okay? Massive, massive deal. Again, he trying to get slick. He trying to do all he can because he's like, hey, you made my life a living hell. I'm going to make sure I come back at you with guns blazing, right? You made a fool out of me. You made me look like a fool. I'm about to make you look like Boo Boo the fool. Okay, with your pants on the ground, right? So a blistering opinion that highlighted a host of potential irregularities in the way that the DOJ under Trump secured an indictment against former FBI Director James Comey. A Virginia federal judge said there may be grounds to dismiss the entire freaking case. And I remember talking about this being like, I wonder if they have anything solid to take this man down, really. Like, do they have enough to take him down? And there are people out here that were laughing, being like, yeah, get him, Trump, get him. Well, there might not be anything there. Lindsay may have pulled something out of her own booty hole just so she can try to appease her new employer, which is Donald J. Trump. Why? Because the former lawyer, remember this Ish? The former lawyer turned to Trump and said, there's nothing there. There's nothing I can use to take him down, sir. I've tried, sir. And Trump said, you're not doing enough. You're fired. And then he brought in Lindsay Halligan, okay, with her Farrah Fawcett hair, right? And she said, I can do it, okay? I can take him down. And now we're hearing from a judge, a federal judge, saying, she may have been stretching the truth there. So the record points to a disturbing pattern of profound investigative missteps. Missteps that led a FBI agent and a prosecutor to potentially undermine the integrity of the grand jury proceeding. This is what Magistrate Judge William Fitzpatrick said. Today's the 18th. Yesterday. Let's be real. Fitzpatrick was ruling on a request from Comey to see the materials from the grand jury that indicted him on September 25th. Although those materials are typically kept secret, even from a defendant, Fitzpatrick said the circumstances of his actual case warranted giving him access. He's like, yeah, you know what? You got a point. A lot of what he's getting hit with, I can see why he wants to know what the proof is, what he's standing up against real quick. So yeah, I'll grant you access. That's fine. So the government's actions in this case, whether purposeful, reckless, or negligent, raise genuine issues of misconduct, are inextricably linked to the government's grand jury presentation and deserve to be fully explored by the defense. This is what the judge wrote. Now, Fitzpatrick, ordered a court clerk to make grand jury materials available to Comey by 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the prosecution to give Comey a quote-unquote complete audio recording of the grand jury proceedings by 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A lawyer for Comey declined to comment, but The DOJ didn't immediately respond to a request for comment, but filed a motion within hours stating that Fitzpatrick, quote unquote, may have misinterpreted some facts and asking for the order to be paused. It wants 1 week to fully lay out its objections. Why? Why? Comey was charged with lying to Congress and obstructing a congressional proceeding during testimony he gave before a Senate committee in 2020. The charges carry a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison, although federal sentences typically fall below the top penalties. The ex-FBI director, who has publicly declared he is innocent, pleaded not guilty in early October. Fitzpatrick is serving an 8-year term as a magistrate judge in the Eastern District of Virginia, after being selected for that role by the full district judges in the area in 2022. He is a former longtime federal prosecutor who served under Democratic and Republican presidents. So the judge raised a series of potential issues with the way Comey, a longtime critic of Trump, was indicted. Newly appointed prosecutor Lindsay Halligan, yes, fair faucet hair, a former personal lawyer to Trump, was installed around September 20th, the day Trump posted on social media that Comey was guilty as hell and delay was not an option. Halligan secured the indictment on September 25th, just 5 days before a legal deadline for the charges were set to expire. So you really think she got in on the 20th? She had 5 days to get her ish together, figure out the lay of the land, and then suddenly find smoking gun evidence to take this man down in just 5 days? She just walked in. She walked in mid-book, mid-novel, okay? Not even mid-sentence, mid-novel, in the middle of the damn movie, and she's like, wait a second, what happened in the first hour and a half? Can I find out? Can somebody tell me what actually, can somebody tell me what actually happened here so I know what's going down? And she's like, nope, that's not what she did. She walked in and she said, whatever you need, boss. I can take this mother lover down. So she found something which apparently has no merit. This is what they're saying, that whatever she did does not fall within the confines of what would make anybody get indicted on these charges. But she found something, pulled that right out of her booty hole, and said, James Comey going down. Crazy, right? So she was installed after the former lead head of the office, she is now running, okay, reportedly expressed skepticism about the potential case against Comey because he said, there's nothing there to take him down. I went through everything, sir. Mr. President, I went through everything to try to find something to take him down, and I found nothing, sir. I found nothing. And then he said, you're fired. And then he brought in Farrah Fawcett hair. Okay? Fitzgerald wrote in his November 17th opinion that there is evidence that suggests the government could have used information protected by attorney-client privilege to prepare its presentation to the grand jury, even if it didn't actually present privileged communications to the jury or to the grand jury. This is particularly troublesome because the government's sole witness before the grand jury was exposed to a quote-unquote limited overview of privileged material shortly before he was testified, the judge wrote. And here she is, Farrah Fawcett hair. The DOJ said in its request to halt the order that the primary focus of Fitzgerald's inquiry was whether privileged information was shared with the grand jury, and the judge seemed to have settled that issue in the government's favor. Addressing Other issues is premature. It said because Comey and the government haven't submitted their full arguments on those issues. So again, what's really crazy, all right, is that they were doing, she at least, and Trump were moving mountains, okay, trying to move mountains to take Comey down. And this could also be clicked and dragged over to Letitia James as well. That maybe they don't have anything on Letitia James. Maybe she didn't do anything bad, right? But then again, I don't know. With that one, that's another conversation in itself. Okay, she might be in trouble on that one. But when it comes to Comey, he may not have done anything at all. He may not have done anything at all, y'all. And this was a speedy situation where you had a new lawyer, okay, new attorney, new attorney come in and take over the job at the last minute, and she was just scrounging, just trying to find anything. And then they just threw out a Hail Mary and just let it stick. When it all could be one big, what is the word? Oh, yeah, fugazi. Just so that he can make Comey feel exactly what he felt when he was in trouble. Making him sweat. That's it. Making him feel the feeling of sweating. Let's go back over to Epstein
Joining me now is Eric Fudali, partner.
Being voted, Epstein files being voted to be released. Let's take a listen to this.
Joining me now is Eric Fudali, partner and managing attorney at the Bloom firm. He represents multiple Jeffrey Epstein survivors. It's good to have you back on the program, and I want to sort of pick up where Lisa Phillips left off, which is saying, and when it can safely be made public, it will be the stories of these individual survivors. What needs to happen for the full story to come out?
I think that's a very simple answer, and that's the files need to come out. We need the entire load of the files. We don't need a trickled, we don't need little emails here and there. We don't have to subpoena the Epstein estate. We need the Department of Justice, which Donald Trump appears to control, to release the entirety of the files. Redact the victims' names, redact the victims' identities. Nothing else, release the files. It's that simple. And it has been so frustrating and re-victimizing and just demoralizing to watch this unnecessarily long process where Trump has changed his mind a few times. Now we're all debating on the Hill, like, just release the files. We don't need all this. Everyone is in favor of transparency. Release the files.
Well, let me ask you then to answer what a couple of Republican members of Congress.
Moving on. Hold on, guys. Because I do want to hear, I do want to see some highlights of what was said before the votes, okay?
Joining us, MS Now White House reporter Laura Barone Lopez, MS Now congressional reporter Michael Schnell, and
also, by the way, don't forget, hit that like button down below, crush it, please, and thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, all right? Sub, all right? Hit that follow button. I'm on all these other platforms: Facebook, X/, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. Hit that like button down below, please, and thank you, okay? Let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll in this mug.
senior reporter at The Bulwark, Will Sommer. I'm so proud of myself for saying MS Now both of those times. Congratulations to all of us on this new day. I guess, Laura, first to you, why is the president so upset with Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Katie, as you well know, as Michael knows, was one of his biggest supporters. But she is not backing off on getting a...
Actually, sorry. No. Hold on, guys. We already know about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I want to see what's going down. Hold on. Let's get to that live.
To the day.
Yep, here we go. So there's a couple people I want to see them speak. This is what happened before the votes. So Nancy Mace is out here looking. She looks tired. Okay, she looks tired, but that's a still. So let us take a look at this. All right.
To the day. And today, I still don't have justice
like millions of women across the country. When I spoke out, I got attacked. When I spoke out, I was shamed. When I spoke out, I was defamed and smeared. And that goes on today, right now, in the present. God sure has a funny way of working through us. I, like many of the Epstein survivors and many other survivors across the country, I don't think I will ever heal from the destruction my abuser did to me. But I can heal by being a vessel and being a voice for all those who need it. And that's why we are here today. That is why I will never abandon a single survivor ever. And I will never waver. I spent my morning talking to law enforcement and others about another potential Jane Doe number 5, who may be another sexual assault victim in the case that I uncovered 2 years ago. It's very difficult for us to come forward, but I want to thank the women who have, the Epstein victims, the victims in the case that I uncovered. I want to thank all of you for being a voice, for giving me hope. Maybe one day I too can get justice. Thank you, and I yield.
Gentlelady yields back. Gentleman from Kentucky reserves. Gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Our colleagues want Americans to believe that this discharge petition and underlying legislation are the be-all and end-all in this investigation. However, it's House Republicans who've worked tirelessly to achieve true justice for victims. To date, the significant information that has come out has come from the Oversight and Government Reform Committee as a result of its issuing 13 subpoenas. We've released 65,000 pages of documents from the Department of Justice, the Epstein estate, which was not mentioned in the underlying legislation, former U.S. attorney, and others. Let me state again, the unanimous consent request to pass the legislation immediately last week was blocked by the minority leader. Full stop. If Democrats truly cared about finding justice immediately for victims, this legislation would have been passed last week. Instead, they want political theater to capitalize on. House Republicans, on the other hand, remain focused on truth, accountability, and delivering real justice for Epstein's victims, not political points. I reserve.
Reserves. Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, may I inquire as to how much time I have remaining?
Gentleman has 5.5 minutes remaining.
I yield myself 3.5 minutes.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, all that is now.
Okay, so we've already heard from him. He's been speaking out a lot. This is Thomas Massey, if you don't know. Okay, but I'm going to go over to, excuse me, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Let's hear what he has to say.
Louisiana is recognized. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Chairman Jordan, for doing such an extraordinary job on all of this. For 43 long days, the Democrats held this House and the entire country hostage. Finally, with the lights back on, this body's returning to our regular legislative session. We have a lot of work to do. My colleagues on this side of the chamber are ready and eager to get back to our urgent legislative work that we promised the American people we would do. We've got to continue lowering the cost of health care. We've got to bring down prices for American families, and we've got to finish the regular appropriations process, just to name a few of those priorities. And I wish I could say that our first order of business would be to get to those urgent priorities, but of course we're here spending time on the floor about something else. This is something we could have resolved last week when we brought a unanimous consent to pass this discharge with the full support of the body. But our friends over here who are arguing today stalled that. They objected to it, and they wanted to have this exercise instead. And that's why we say that this is a show vote. That's what this is. They're making a show of it. And it really is a shame. We have some heroic women in the chamber today. I met with many of them a while back. They're in the gallery here. They have come forward. They have shown their faces. They've used their names to share the unspeakable tragedies that many of them were subjected to, some of them when they were very young. And it is a heroic service to the country. They are seeking justice, and the justice has been delayed for too long. The Department of Justice, many years ago, should have brought these charges. It took too long to do it. And now we're in this process of making sure all the American people get the information, but we have to do it in the right way, After 4 years of Democrat control under President Biden, they were not truthful with us about a lot of things.
I'm sorry. This guy, he's something else, ain't he? Ain't he something else? I feel like this is the problem. We have a person. We got this guy right here, okay? Mr. Evil Keebler Elf. I said it. I don't care. Looks old and young at the same damn time. It's amazing. Like, I swear to God, he looks like a choir boy, but then looks like, I don't know. This is the wildest thing. I've never seen anything the likes of him before. But here's the thing. All he's doing right now, from what I've heard so far, is him regurgitating things that we've already heard before. He's just regurgitating what's been said by the president. And he's just saying it in his own way. Again, all of it is excuses. Instead of actually like looking into the situation as it is and realizing that these people have been like, that this guy, that President Trump made this bed. He made this bed and now is refusing to lie in it by lying about it is insane. And then you have other people who just take his word for it. They literally look at this and they go, yep, what he said is right. That's absolutely right, man. It's the damn Democrats. It's the lame liberals. It's the loser left that are making a spectacle about this. When in actuality, it's a lot of people that are feeling this type of way. Yeah, classic. It's disgusting. And it's really sad because you know what? There was a moment during this whole Epstein debacle, before it got all crazy and became heavily politicized as it has been now. It has been weaponized in the most political way I've never seen this before. But there was a time where we all were on the same page. We all were like, yes, let's release the files. All of us. Every single last one of us. Even, I'm sure, the likes of Mike Johnson. He's sitting there drinking his fine wine in rooms that smell of rich vanilla and mahogany with other very, very powerful and influential people. I'm sure at that moment he said, yes, we should release the files. We should have proof. We should know what's actually going on. But then as soon as Trump turned and said they don't exist and that we're dumb for even thinking that they exist in the first place, we're dumb for even asking. This is insane that suddenly he would turn and change his thoughts. In fact, a lot of the Republicans, will come out and say the same stuff, regurgitating the same BS excuses, rather than just saying, yeah, we need to release the files and be done with it. This problem would never have even existed if they had just released the files. In fact, let me just go all the way back. Hit that rewind button. None of this would have been existing if Trump didn't open up his mouth and say, drain the swamp. No, and by the way, this is not some Mandela effect where we're thinking it's Berenstain Bears when it's Berenstain Bears, okay? Where there's it's a basket holding the fruits on in the Fruit of the Loom logo. Okay, this is not one of those situations where this is a Mandela effect. This is real. We didn't jump into a different timeline. We didn't go into a different universe. No. This is reality. And yet we are still hearing the same BS that Trump says. See, this is when you know for a fact that he just has minions. He has people that are sycophantic yes people, and that's it. They don't challenge nothing because they're worried about losing power. That's a big problem. That's a big problem. But listen to what he's saying. Listen to the excuses. And tell me this doesn't sound like Trump sticking his hand up his ass and moving the mouth.
The Democrats insisted the border was secure. We knew it wasn't. They insisted that inflation was transitory. We knew it wouldn't be. They misled the American people about the obvious mental and physical decline of the previous commander-in-chief. And now those same Democrats are demanding transparency. Suddenly, transparency is their new word. Out of nowhere, they've taken a curious concern in the Epstein investigation, all in the name of that, in the name of transparency. But the question has been asked here many times during the debate on the floor, and everybody questioning why it is the Democrats have done this right now have to look at the obvious facts. The Democrats had all the Epstein files in their possession for 4 long years under the Biden presidency.
But you had it 4 long years too, before that. Stop with the mess. I'm sorry, but I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, y'all. Come on, man. I get it. Yes. Shame on Biden administration as well. Shame on them too. They have some explaining to do as well. Something corrupt in there too, for sure. I think they were too busy trying to make sure that he was still like standing in one place and staying coherent. Okay? Because that was the biggest sham of a freaking administration that I've ever seen in my whole entire damn life. That man was one step away from lunacy. Okay? Because dementia was kicking in hard. And we saw all that. We saw his mental decline. And they denied that, and they tried to make it seem like everything was fine. He was doing just fine. When you got your wife standing wherever you are at all times to make sure you're not about to walk off into the wrong place, while you're sitting there pooping yourself, while you're listening to a horn section play, God Bless America. I mean, come on, guys. These all really happened. Okay? Shame on the Biden administration as well. They done mucked that up as well. And it was one big weekend at Bernie's situation. I said it, dagnabbit. But at the same time, they also had time in the first term as well. He used it as his thing for his election in that time. And then he used it again for his election this time. This was the moment that was supposed to be the thing where all transparency, all truths, all that information was supposed to come out. And what happened? Nothing. They lied. So as much as they keep on saying, well, you had 4 years to do something about it back then. Well, then, okay, great.
The Biden Department of Justice had these files, and no one on this side who is breathless today about the urgency of this release ever said a word about it. And it was the Democrats who could have urged President Biden's Department of Justice to go beyond prosecuting just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, but they didn't do it. And so it's a fair question to ask today, why now? Why the sudden urgent interest in Jeffrey Epstein? Look, we know why. It's because the Democrats were never interested in transparency or executing justice or protecting the victims of this unspeakable tragedy before. The simple truth is obvious for everybody to see. This is a political exercise for Democrats, and it pains me to say it. I wish that was not the truth, but it is.
He's such an actor. It's crazy. He's such an actor. Why? I feel like if they were to do a movie with him in it, like an actor to play him, he's Kevin Spacey. Oh my God, he's Kevin Spacey though. Oh snap. You don't see it? He Kevin Spacey up in this biznai. Oh my gosh. He Kevin Spacey. Look at him, how he talks. How he says things. You don't see it? I see it. This is very House of Cards. The only thing he's missing is a Southern drawl. You know, that surly Southern drawl. I said, I have to say my House of Representatives, I have to say, all the Democrats' fault. Has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with us Republicans, as you can see. Like, it's insane how he's trying to be slick with it. You don't see that? He trying to be slick with it. No expression in his face at all. He's just like, this is what I think. No Southern drawl, though. Okay? I don't hear the drawl, right? But don't you see that? This is Kevin Spacey written all over it. Okay? That's crazy. This is Kevin Spacey. How fitting, though. Grinder. Okay, I'm kidding. There's no proof of that. But Keebler Elf, though. He does look like Keebler Elf.
And it's undeniable. This is as deceitful and dishonest as their pointless stunt was to shut the government down. Democrats are using the Epstein tragedy, the unspeakable evils that this guy committed with his trafficking ring and all of the abuses that they made these young women go through. They're using that as a political weapon to try to distract from their failures as a party and to try their best to try to tie President Trump somehow into this wretched scandal.
He's not tied in. They're not trying. He is tied into it. You see what I'm saying? Well, here's the thing. There's no proof of him doing any wrongdoing, but he is tied into it. We all can agree on that. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on. We can all agree on that. There are people going out of their way, burning MAGA hats and memorabilia right now because of his denials, the fact that he lied to his people, and the fact that, yeah, he knew about this stuff. He knew what Epstein was doing. He was fully aware of this. So yes, he's tied into it. He may not have, there's nothing so far in these emails or in these files so far show that he has done anything, illegal. Not yet, at least. But at the same time, he lied to his base. He lied to his people. He went politician on them, and they don't like that. So again, he's already tied to it. You see all the photos. You see all the stories. He used to run with the guy. They were best friends. They used to share women together. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they were in the same rooms together, if you get what I'm saying. Sharing women. Okay? Let's be real. You don't think Trump, when he was younger, was a little freak-a-leak? You know for damn sure he was a freak-a-leak. Okay? I think women was his kryptonite, was his vice. That's what I think, because he didn't drink. He didn't do, allegedly, he didn't drink. He didn't do any substances. He didn't have any other vices. I think women were his vice. That's what I think. And that's one thing that he and Epstein connected on. Oh, you like women? I like women too. You're rich? I'm rich too. And we like the same kind of women. Oh, this is going to be fun. Let's hang out. Let's get along. And you're rich. You can keep up with me. And I can keep up with you financially. This is fantastic. Come on, guys. Think about it. Think about that for a second. Okay? Wild stuff.
The president had nothing to do with it. He's been very clear, and he has nothing to hide. And that's why he's endorsed the vote today. I suspect this vote will be probably unanimous. But here's the important point that everybody needs to understand. We have been advocates of maximum transparency, but we have also insisted that the victims be carefully protected. The Oversight Committee has been doing extraordinary work, and we've got some of the most vigorous advocates on the Republican and Democrat side on the Oversight Committee. They've been working in earnest to deliver transparency for the American people and to do it in a responsible manner. What do we mean by that? The bipartisan effort over there is already producing all the results that the discharge petition seeks and much, much more. Chairman Comer and all of these advocates over there have been releasing thousands of documents, for example, from the Epstein estate. By the way, in my view, that's been the greatest treasure trove of information because it's yielded for us Epstein's own personal flight logs, his financial records, his daily calendars, and so much more. But importantly, none of that was addressed or is addressed in the legislation that's being voted on today. The estate files wouldn't even have been encompassed in that. And so it goes to show that the Oversight Committee is doing it from the right way. From the very beginning, We've been insistent that this matter be handled carefully and with the utmost caution and care for the people who have been harmed. They should not be made to suffer any longer. We're talking about real people's lives at stake here, and young victims who don't want to be dragged into this political game that could get hurt further. But the Democrats are rushing the release of thousands of unsubstantiated documents that may be included in this, that are going to be in the public domain with the passage of this bill. And there are serious deficiencies in the legislation that I have noted at length, and Republicans have to work to address those deficiencies in the Senate if and when this legislation is advanced. I stood before the American public today at our press conference, and I explained in detail the dangers of the discharge petition. We have posted at my website, speaker.gov, a summary. The legal counsel, a small army of lawyers, put this together. I used to be a federal court litigator. Many of my colleagues who've spoken today were. We understand the dangers of how this was haphazardly drawn up. And among them, by the way, Mr. Speaker, before I forget, I seek unanimous consent to enter into this document into the record. It's on the website. It's entitled, How the Flaws of H.R. 4405 Could Re-Victimize Epstein's Victims, Create New Victims, and Damage the Judicial System. It is dated today. Thank you. And it summarizes just 5 or 6 of the major concerns. Among them, it fails to fully protect victim privacy. It could create new categories of victims. It potentially jeopardizes grand jury secrecy. It fails to prohibit release of child sexual abuse materials that are not appropriately defined in the legislation. It jeopardizes future federal investigations, and we have national security concerns regarding classified information. We'll put this in the record because we need the legislative record to reflect what is the legislative intent behind this vote. I used to litigate cases. We would litigate federal statutes and whether or not they could survive, and legislative intent is important. And we need to say clearly for the record, as a Speaker of the House, I'm saying to you, this legislation that will pass today is flawed and it must be amended. The question is, why didn't we amend it here before we passed it? Because the authors won't allow it. Because under the rules of the House, under a discharge petition, they have to agree to consent for the legislation to be amended, and they're not doing that. So now we rely upon our partners in the other chamber to get that done, and they need to do that. The victims deserve our utmost respect. In fact, they should be saluted for their courage. And the young women who have not come forward, who are now, some of them are middle-aged women who have not come forward, also deserve our respect, and they deserve to be protected. Republicans support transparency. We want maximum transparency, especially when it comes to disclosing the names of anybody who had anything to do with these evils, anybody who conspired with or aided in any way Jeffrey Epstein. They must be brought to justice. We want the bill to be amended so it doesn't, at the same time, violate victim privacy, create new victims, disclose the names of any whistleblower or informant, cause the release of grand jury materials or child sexual abuse materials, or undermine our national security. And if and when the Senate takes this up, we will work with our colleagues over there to make sure that these things are corrected. I'll just close with this simple thought. We've been at this a while. It's drug on for a while, but it's time for this to come to light. I expect that this will be a unanimous vote, and it will reflect what I think every member in this chamber, and I'll say this now, at least in recent days, every member of the chamber on the Democrat side, they didn't say anything for 4 years, but they're for maximum transparency now, and so is this side. But we want to do it in a respectful and careful manner so that we don't subject innocent people to further harm. And that has been the whole thing. I told all my members today I'll be voting yes on this, and I suspect almost everyone will. We'll send it to the Senate, and we hope it's corrected. Thank you for the time, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
Okay, now here's the thing. When he says, oh, yeah, we need to be worried about the innocent people that their names are in there and all that kind of stuff, other victims that don't want to be exposed, all that stuff, then, like I said, then redact those names. That's what I say, right? Or, have they spoken to anybody on that side? Have they spoken to any of those people that don't want their names out there? Have they reached out to those individuals just to see if they want their names redacted or not? You see what I'm saying? Like, the ones that are out here that are speaking out right now, the hundreds, not thousands, but the hundreds of them that have spoken out so far, I get it. Those are the ones that I think it's fair for them to, release the files and have their names out there. But the ones that have expressed, if they have expressed serious concern about their safety and not wanting their names out there, then respect their names. right? Respect their names by redacting their names. I think that's fair. Okay? I think that's fair. But that can't be the only excuse on why you're not releasing the information. Real talk, that can't be the only excuse. Or that can't be one of the main excuses, because that problem could have been remedied over the last God knows how many years. Okay, the last, as they say, the last decade, right? Had 10 years to figure that part out. 10 years to reach out to all these innocent ones that did not want their names out there. 10 years. So again, miss me with the nonsense, I guess. Don't get me wrong. I think that the names that don't want to be revealed, then don't reveal it. You see what I'm saying? Don't reveal those names. Now, I know some people are like, send it out unredacted. Honestly, I'm going to be real. I agree. I do agree. I think that they should just rip the Band-Aid off. Let it all be out there. Okay? But I also do understand that there are victims out there that have still not spoken out, that still have not said anything, that are still hiding. I get that part. I get that. That's why I say those names should stay redacted. Everything else, rip the Band-Aid off and let the chips fall where they may. That's what I think. But you can't sit here all day long making excuses, okay? And saying, because it's the victims. No, it's not. No, it's not. There's something much bigger going on. And you cannot tell me that it has something. You can't tell me that there's something else, okay? You can't. We got Marjorie Taylor Greene, too. Let's hear this one.
I now yield 5 minutes to the gentlewoman from Georgia, Mrs. Greene.
The gentlelady from Georgia is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I proudly rise today in a bipartisan effort to release the Epstein files finally, after 5 administrations have covered it up. Earlier today, I attended the press conference where the survivors, they're not victims, the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse and sex trafficking told their stories. And they told stories about how it started back in 1991, 1996, and they continued on through the decades. And they told stories about how they told someone and tried to get help. They told the FBI and they weren't listened to. And they told law enforcement and no one did anything. And these women don't just number a few. These women number around 1,000 women. And they are victims of something that's unthinkable. And this should have never, ever happened. This was the biggest fight I think I've seen in Washington, D.C. This is my 5th year here. And this was a fight that we should have never had to wage. It should have been the easiest thing for every single member of Congress. It should have been the easiest thing for the Speaker of the House. It should have been the easiest thing for the President of the United States to release all the information, every single file, on behalf of these American women. These American women aren't rich, powerful elites. They do not have someone paying for their airline tickets or paying for their trips or paying for their expenses every time they try to do something to get this information out. These are your average Americans. And you want to know what the Epstein files represent? The cover-up represents to average Americans. It represents the failures of the federal government and Congress to the American people. And that is what people rose up about in 2024. They wanted and demanded transparency from their government and for Americans finally to be put first. And today with this vote, we are finally putting these victims and these survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and the cabal of rich, powerful elites that expands not just here in the United States of America, but to other countries as well. We're putting them last. And that is exactly
what Americans want. You see, for far too long, Americans have been put last, and they're sick of it. They're sick and tired of it. And this is why they don't trust Congress. This is why they don't trust the government. And here's the problem. All of these women who have suffered in shame for years and years and years, women who were terrified, women who were intimidated, women who were threatened, just like Virginia Giuffre. And now she's dead. And these women should have never faced that, for this information to come out. And we, especially the 4 Republican members of the House of Representatives, we should have never faced intimidation and threats for us to get this vote to come to the floor. Never forget, there were 4: Thomas Massie, myself, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert. We had to sign a discharge petition, and we had to fight through intimidation, and we had to endure it for months to push that discharge petition finally to 218 to get this vote to come out. This is what the American people are sick of, and rightfully so. Now, where does this go from here? The question will remain, will the Department of Justice release all the information? Will a judge in New York release the information? Will the CIA release the information? And will foreign governments release their information? Or will this continue after this vote today be a cover-up of the rich, powerful elites that bond together in sex and human trafficking abuse and all types of global business that enriches them but never serves Americans? The American people will know, and the victims, actually the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, will know, because they know the list of names. And I remain dedicated to my promise to read those names here on the House floor if those women ever find them in a place that it needs to be done. I yield.
Let me just say this. First off, okay, this is like opposite day. I'm going to keep it real. This is opposite day. But I have to give her kudos. You know, I got to give her her props. I got to give her kudos. Okay? Yeah. This is a moment where a broken clock right now, this broken clock, because, you know, I'm not a fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay? There are things that she stands for that I don't like, and all that stuff. But when it comes to this, she is willing to risk everything to get those files out there. She is willing to risk everything for those victims. I give her mad props for that. I got to clap to that again. Sorry. But I'm going to keep it a complete 100,000% real with y'all. Okay? She crazy. We been known that. Okay? We been known that. But the fact that she is willing to put everything on the line for this whole cause, she has my respect. I will say that. She has my respect. And this is also somebody who is standing right next to Trump, soldiering on, right? And being a advocate for the MAGA movement. Now, she is anti-MAGA now. She is gone. She is America first, as they keep on saying, and all that. And again, wild. No matter what, still absolutely shocked about everything that's been going on. There is a divorce going on within the MAGA group. And there are people, like I said, there's a new wave, and it's America first. Like I told you guys before, it is America first, America only now. AFAO. Okay? And then now you got the old heads now, I guess, called MAGA, which is wild. But the shift is happening. The shift is happening, and it's happening fast. And she's somebody who, you know, Jewish lasers and all that crazy stuff that she said, okay, in the past. And she's still a hardcore conspiracy theorist for sure. Again, she is the only person, one of the only few Republicans that have stepped forward that is willing to die on this hill for the justice of these people. Like I said, I give her mad props for what she is doing. I just hope it works. Like I said, I hope it means that people are going to get what they've been asking for, which is transparency and realness. But we'll see what happens. Okay? We will see what happens. Again, this is absolutely crazy. And I'm wondering, actually, I'm trying to see if there's been like any type of press conference afterwards, if there's been any people, saying anything afterwards after all this has happened, after they voted. Because right now, we should all be very happy that step number one just happened. Epstein files have now been given the green light to be released by the House of Representatives. Next step is Senate. Senate has to vote too. Then after that, it gets sent over to, if it gets past Senate, we'll see about that. Then it lands on Trump's desk. And he said he'll sign it. Which, by the way, they don't have to do any of this. They don't have to do any of this. Trump could literally just say, release them. That's all they need to do, but they're not doing that. Okay? Yeah, Jen. Yeah, MTG definitely gained a lot of support because of this matter. But once she goes off the rails again, like she's still her. She's still Marjorie Taylor Greene. So it's not like she's going to suddenly be like the winner for everybody, right? As soon as this situation is over, if it ever is going to be over, and she goes back to her ways, or she goes hardcore America first and starts spouting off all kinds of crazy anti-Semitic, racist type of stuff. Y'all, shoot. There are going to be a lot of people like, yeah, remember that time when I was, I was supporting that girl? Yeah, I ain't no more. Yeah. Yeah, we good. She meant well. But not anymore. No. That's what's going to happen. Trust and believe. Trust and believe, y'all. People aren't going to be like, oh, yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. No, they're going to be like, nah, never mind. What did she do? I remember when she did that, but that was a while ago. What have she done for me lately? Okay. Not enough for me to support her ass. Watch. It'll happen. Okay. It'll happen. And when it does, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be crazy how quickly people forget. Okay. So let me check something here really quick. Hold on. Let me just check a few things here real quick, okay? Hold on. Because we got something to rejoice about as well, which is awesome. You guys are amazing. I do appreciate you guys being so dope. Okay. Yeah, I don't see anything where people have been speaking out or anything, which obviously is I would expect to see some sort of press conference, but I don't see anything so far. So I guess that's not happening right now. Let me do this really quick. Boom. Let me just pin this to the top of the chat. Switch some things out really quick because y'all are amazing. We surpassed the goal wow, amazingly. So I want to show this to y'all. Hold on. Damn, my computer's tripping. Where are we? There we are. So I got so really quick, I pinned to the top of the chat a video where I talk about the Mark Epstein interview, okay, on Cuomo, which is absolutely crazy. I highly recommend y'all go and check that out, okay? Go and check that out for sure. Here's the other thing too, okay? Shoot, Gordon, that's a good question. I don't know. But it's interesting that Mark Epstein is like, that's a different Bubba. It's not Bill Clinton. It's ridiculous for you guys to think that it's Bill Clinton. And then also he's like, that conversation that I had in that email is between me and my brother. It has nothing to do with anything. That, get out of our business type thing. But instantly I start wondering, well, who Bubba Dan? Who be Bubba? You feel me? Who is Bubba Doe? That's what I'd like to know. All right. Now, here is the thing. I wanted to share this because I think this is really dope. Okay. Thank you guys so much. But we surpassed the number, which is amazing. We're past 3,000, which is amazing. So thank you guys so much for your help. I have more than enough now to get the freaking rig. So thank you. Because like I said, the rig itself, I thought it was going to be only $2,200. I'm like, dang, okay, great. That's not a huge feat to meet. And then I was trying to go and buy it. And then I was like, what are you talking about? What? It's almost $3,000 for the whole freaking thing. Are you out of your mind? Damn. Now I got to tell everybody that's going to be, you know what I mean? Like that I need to raise a little bit more money. And I feel like, I don't want you thinking that I'm trying to scam y'all because I got better things than to do that. Okay. Because we all trying to make it out here. Okay. But that rig is no joke, not cheap. Okay. So again, thank you so much to every single last one of y'all for your support. Okay. I didn't want to show it too long because it's like it does this weird roll through of people's names, and I don't want to put all people's names out here like that. Okay. So anyway, we surpassed the number, and thank you so much. Okay. And if you're interested in seeing what I'm talking about, go check out the link in the GoFundMe. The link is to where I'm actually going and getting the rig and what the rig is. You can take a look with your own eyes and see it for yourself. Okay. The rig is not cheap. All right. It is definitely not a cheap rig. Okay. There are other rigs that are 10 times more expensive than what we just raised. And, $30,000. We ain't got time for that. Okay. We ain't got time for that. But this rig will get what I need to get done. And we'll be able to do a whole lot of really great fun things with it. So I'm really, really excited. Now, here's the thing. So thank you so much. And then I'm going to go into these super chats here really quick. But somebody just said, Florida native just said, Trump might be innocent. Okay, here it is. And oh, wait. And I love you guys too. Seriously, thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Thank you so very much, because I'm going to be able to do so much with it. I really can't wait. Okay. Obviously, I got to wait a few days before, GoFundMe can send everything over, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to make the purchase. Okay. Just so y'all know. So thank you so very much for your support. Seriously. It makes me very, very excited because we're going to be able to do a lot of stuff with this. Okay. And I'll be able to do live shows anywhere in the world. Anywhere. I could do a live show in the middle of the highway. I won't do that, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. I can literally go live, interview anyone, anywhere, at any time, and not have to worry about internet connection or solid enough internet connection and all that stuff. So this is something that's really going to revolutionize the show. It's really going to do something really amazing. And I can't wait to share that thing with that. I can't wait to share that with y'all. And you'll get to go, like, I'll be able to go live with you guys at random places, and talk to you guys about what's going on in the world, talk to other people about what's going on in the world and all that live. So it's going to be dope. I can't wait till I get that in my hands. Okay. It's going to be something really, really special. I can't wait. So moving on though, Florida native just said, Trump might be innocent. Here's the thing. Let's be real. He could very well be 110% innocent, but why is he moving around out here in these parts like he isn't? Think about that. He might very well be innocent. Let me tell you, he may not have done any crimes at all, guys. He could very well be 110% innocent. We still have to leave that on the table. But he's not willing to address a lot of these issues, a lot of these things, and a lot of these questions that we all been having. Is he? Is he responding to anything about anything? Is he answering any of these questions that we've all been wanting to have answered? No. Why is he maneuvering in the way that he's maneuvering? Is it to protect something higher up or to protect his own butt? Now, there's a good possibility. Like I've talked about this a 1,000 times before, but I'll say it again here too, that there's a good possibility that he said that there is so much going on, higher ups, from high up down below on the same level as Trump, that could literally dismantle the actual whole structure of the government that we know right now, or outside forces too. So there's still a possibility that he's trying to protect not the innocent. I don't think he's trying to, and I don't think these Republicans that have been basically gatekeeping this information, they're not trying to protect the innocent. They're using that as an excuse. That's what I truly believe. They're trying to protect something much bigger. Could be the likes of some higher entity overseas. It could be somebody higher entity domestic. We don't know. We can only find out when those files do actually come out. And when those things do come out, if, I'm going to say when, because I'm manifesting good things, right? This might be the situation where we don't want to know the truth. This is the a few good men moment, you know? You can't handle the truth. You never know. Might be that. It might be that situation where we rip, where the American people or the world's eyes get the veils ripped out from, like the veil ripped off from our eyes. And we might see the harsh realities of the world. And it's like, damn, I liked it, pre-Epstein, or before Epstein. I liked it BE. So then it'll be 2026 AE, okay? You know what I'm saying? Instead of AD, it'll be after Epstein. And this year is 2025 BE, and that's before Epstein. You know what I'm saying? Everything could go to hell in a handbasket in 2 seconds if that information in there, in these files, exposed something so deep and so sinister that there are riots out in the streets. You never know. But here's the other thing too. If they don't release these files, same thing's going to happen though. There will be demonstrations, impossible riots out in the streets. I think the reaction, the guttural reaction from the American people and the world is going to be so visceral that they won't even know how to handle it. And it's going to be coming from every corner of the country because people are going to be pissed about how much they lied to the American people. I hope that doesn't happen. That's why I say when they release the files. And I hope everyone just goes and clutches their pearls. And then we go and we go after it in a justice, law and order type of way. And we get the people who have been doing bad things, get them arrested and call it a day. That's what I'm hoping for. Not crazy, volatile reactions in the streets. I want us all to stay safe. But you never know. If they refuse to release this information, there's going to be a reaction of the likes you've never seen before. You know what I'm saying? Just wait for it. Let me get these super chats. Jesgy, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My short Pascal fam. Short Pascal fam? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Get well soon. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. If your rig fundraiser is or over 300, you have to say 3K. I'm sorry, 3,000. You have to say Trump's my daddy. Hell to no, I'm not saying. I already said it, but I ain't saying that. Okay, Holly. But thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Black Lake, sorry. Thank you so much for the love. If I were one of the victims, I'd disappear. Thousands of people on both sides are about to be implicated. So hopefully they're taking safety measures. I agree, Black Lake. I do agree with that. Those that are not wanting to be, out here, I hope that they're doing everything they can to protect themselves, right? But here's the thing. I'll say this too. You got to be absolutely out your damn mind, okay? You got to be out your mother-loving mind. If you got people that are willing to reach out to the innocent lives that were named in the files and send threats to them, you got to be something else. You got to be out your freaking mind to do stuff like that. That's not right. We all know that. So you'd hope that you'd leave those innocent lives alone if those names are not redacted. That is, okay? Black Lake, again, thank you so much. Virginia Giuffre didn't do it to herself. That's the thing. That's the theory that people are saying out here. Nor did any of the victims soon to be leaked. I mean, we'll see what comes of these names or these files coming out. But I think it'd be great if they were able to redact some of these names to protect those who are innocent, right? I know some other people like just rip the Band-Aid off and let it be what it is, but if they could protect the people, I guess protect them, right? But now we got to wait for the Senate, right? Jennifer, thank you so much for the love. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much for your support. And just like Jennifer, please hit that join button down below. Become a member if you can. Okay. But yeah, guys, like I said, we have a lot of questions. Okay. We all have our various amount of questions. There are still 23,000 emails, documents, etc., that have been released that people are still combing through. Even I'm still combing through that stuff. There's so much that's going on in there. It's ridiculous. And Jeffrey Epstein's grammar is a crime in itself. Okay. This is I would assume an educated man, but he can't write a sentence worth a damn. Okay. He can't write a sentence worth a damn. All right. But that's another conversation in itself. We're going to see what happens with the Senate and what comes of that. Is it going to be something more? Are they going to block it in the Senate? Or are we going to get everything out here soon? If that does happen, if they do release, if they say go ahead and release the files and then Trump signs the paperwork, then we're looking at a very interesting December. Yeah. A very, very busy and very, very interesting December. What a way to end the year. It's going to be interesting when it all goes down. And when it all goes down, we're going to be watching it right here, guys. Right freaking here. All right. But that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. I'm going to take a little bit of a vocal rest, but I'll be back on, I'm sure. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Do me the solid before you head out. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you follow. Make sure you're also subscribed right here on my main channel right here on YouTube. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips, and also my third channel, Pascal Raw. Subscribe to those channels. All right? Please and thank you. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Also, if you want to check out the most recent video I just did before we went live, go check out the interview with Mark Epstein talking about everything about this Bubba situation and the emails. Go check it out. It's a very interesting interview. Go check that out when you get a chance, okay? It's pinned at the top of the chat right now as we speak. So go check it out right now. Go over there and check it out. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We'll talk to you soon. Stay safe out there. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.